Hi, this is Morgan, one of the trainers with Troy Online Student Services, and in this video we're going to be talking about program evaluations and the evaluation of credit. Specifically for this video, we will be looking at the unofficial evaluation, and in a later video we will look at the process for determining an official one. So to start off, we're going to ask the question, when is the official degree audit prepared for a student? This happens after the student is fully cleared from admissions. So that means that all of their transcripts and any other requirements that they have been pushed through admissions and they are now cleared. We also have to point out that graduate credit is not automatically evaluated. There's a different process for that. But undergraduate credit is looked at very soon after being cleared from admissions. We generally say it can take up to 6 weeks once they're cleared, so it is important for anybody who's going to be helping the student with their coursework to determine what courses they do and don't need in order to take their first term with us. So one of the things that we can do is we can look at the student's transcripts in order to figure out what's going on with the student. Now, there are lots of different ways that we can go about doing this. So I have a screenshot of a transcript right here for us to look at, and we're going to talk about the unofficial evaluation process. So you look at this list of courses. It looks like he's taken everything from American Government 1, Introduction to Philosophy, he's got Business and Professional Communications, and some other different courses. So one of the first things we want to do when we're looking to make an unofficial evaluation for a student is we want to see, is the school listed on the official transfer credit listings that we have here on the Troy webpage. If you're unsure how to get to them, you can see the addresses listed in the top left-hand corner at www.troy.edu/records/AEC/transfercreditlistings.html. And so what we can do is we can actually go through and look at the different four-year colleges and universities that we currently have these agreements with. So for example, let's say that we have a student who has attended Bishop State Community College. We'll simply click on Bishop State Community College, and that credit listing will populate as a PDF showing us how those courses come over. So if you're looking at a student who has ANT 22-6, Culture and Personality with an A listed on their transcript, we know for a fact that this is probably going to come over as GS A4SS Area 4 Social Sciences course with Troy University. So what we can do is pull up that evaluation that we're using to determine what courses the student needs and simply mark that in. So we know the student may not want to take courses out of the social science program. Similarly, we see that if they have an Art 100 Art Appreciation on their Bishop State Community College transcript, then we know that's going to come over probably as the visual arts course that they can use in their fine arts section. The only downside to this particular website is that while there are a lot of colleges that are listed, unfortunately not all of them are. So what happens if you pull a transcript and you see that we're not really sure what they're going to come over as? Then we need to make our best guess. I would recommend using the academic catalog in this particular situation because it can give you an idea of what classes we do offer, and it also has all of our course descriptions listed, which makes it a lot easier for us to determine what courses go where. And obviously some courses are going to be a little bit more obvious than others. So looking back at our transcript we looked at originally, we see that the student has taken Government 2301, American Government 1, Introduction to Philosophy, which is Phil 1301, and Speech 1321, Business and Professional Communication. The next term, they took History 1301, United States History. The next term, you see that they've taken American Government 2, and then they retook American History Part 1, and this time made an A. So if we didn't know what college this came from, or we had a situation where this college was not listed on the page we looked at before, we would have to make our best guess. Now, some courses are going to be more obvious than others. For example, We know that United States History 1, which he first took in fall of 2011, is probably going to be the equivalent of our own History 1111. But we do want to be careful because, as you can see, his first attempt, he made an F. And so one of the things that does trip people up sometimes is they'll see on the one side of the screen, oh yeah, they're totally fine because they took this course, and they don't pay attention to the grades that came with it. So make sure you are paying close attention. So in this particular situation, if this was the only history course the student took, we could safely tell the student that, yeah, you're going to need a history. But because we see that he later comes back and takes part 1 over, and then later part 2 down here, and makes A's both times, he's probably going to be okay in terms of needing history. Now, courses that relate to English or math tend to be a little bit more difficult. On this particular transcript, it's not quite as important because you see in the Math 1414 college algebra, he's withdrawn. And then he made an F in Math 1332 contemporary mathematics. So we wouldn't have to worry about the math in this situation. But imagine that this college algebra here has been given a grade. The lowest math course that we do accept for transfer will be that college algebra. So that will come in, but it may not necessarily come in as a course that is degree applicable because it may come in as a remedial. So those are things to keep in mind. So let's look at another example of a transcript right here. As you can see, the student has English 101, which comes over as English Composition 1. If you and I were to get this particular transcript, we would be safely able to say this is probably going to be the equivalent of Troy's English 1101. The important thing to know about unofficial evaluations is that they are just that, unofficial. So there will be times where we have situations that we're unsure and we can only make our best guess. Because of that, it's important to let students know right away that anything that's listed on the unofficial evaluation is just that, unofficial. And they should be aware of any possible duplication of credits that they intend to transfer in.